Hello. This will be a new movie of Goku Betrayed. I hope you like it. Without more to say, let's start with the movie. This story would begin 9 years after the Tournament of Power. The Z-Warriors enjoyed a great period of peace on Earth. Goku would take the opportunity to rest. The Saiyans would go for a long time in the mountains where he would relax. At last, I can rest in contact with nature, Goku answered. On several occasions, Goku would isolate himself in the forests for several days where he would feed on fruits. The prince would be training every day in the Capsule Corporation. Perfect. Finish today's training. I'll take a shower and rest. Today has been a busy day. Today, we will go to a very luxurious restaurant, Bulma answered. Vegeta would get angry, since he would not like to go to those places. Bulma would insist, so the prince would have no choice but to go with his wife. For his part, in the house of Chi-Chi, Gohan would dream on several occasions of a powerful being, but it would not matter to him. Peace would reign on Earth. Far from there, in an ancient destructive universe, there could be an ancient destructive god called Saiyan, which would awaken again after 500 years. There could be a great army surrounding the god Saiyan. An immense power would resurface in the universes. Days later, the destructive gods would be warned. No one wanted to enter into conflict, since they were times when the universes needed tranquility. The destructive gods would often visit the oracle fish to consult him about the awakening of a new threat. The oracle fish would not yet be clear, but he would be sure that a powerful being was awakening. Now, tell us who it is, Champa would exclaim, somewhat angry. That fish lies mostly, Quitella would exclaim. Every now and then she gets it right, Beerus answered, in a serious tone. The oracle fish can warn, but they will not tell you precisely. Demons, Champa answered. We traveled a month here to be told 3 words. The oracle fish answered. Goodbye to all the destructive gods. In this way, all the gods would leave the place, each going to their universe. In Universe 4, the usual answered Quitella. Does something happen, Mr. Quitella? The angel of Universe 4 would ask. We were all destructive gods with the oracle fish, but I think he said pure bullshit. You are very funny, Mr. Quitella, the angel would exclaim. In this way, the Earth God would give importance to the bugs of the oracle fish. For his part, the other gods would take it a little more seriously, so they would begin to debate about who that powerful subject would be who would have already awakened. It is not to trust and take lightly the words of the oracle fish. For something the angels have it in consideration. It will be better for someone to start investigating this matter, or I will have to do it, answered the destructive god Seedla. A great debate would open between several gods. On planet Earth, you could see some criminals trying to steal. These would be intercepted by a strange woman named Dana, who was a warrior girl who fought for justice. The thieves would begin to shoot at Dana, but she would cover herself by stopping most of the attacks. She would try to stop and attack the thieves when Goku suddenly appears. The woman would be surprised to see the Saiyans which the thieves shot at, and he would dodge the bullets at great speed. The thieves would be scared to see the Saiyans' skills. I know this guy. I fight many times in the martial arts tournament, one of the thieves answered. Goku would with his gaze destroy the weapons that the thieves carried. Both would leave the place. "Who the hell is this guy?" Dana answered the warrior. Goku would ask her if she was okay. Dana would feel. Goku answered goodbye and fly away, leaving Dana surprised. She would begin to follow Goku at great speed. Goku would be surprised to see that the girl was following him, so he would approach the warrior again. Both would begin to talk. Dana would tell him to explain to him how he can make all those movements. Goku answered that they're skills that I have developed since I was a little. Dana curiously would invite Goku to her home to talk and have a tea. Goku would tell him that he can't since he is engaged and happily married. The warrior would insist. Goku would accept since he did not want to be rude. In this way, they would enter Dana's home. Goku would be surprised to see many weapons in the home of the strange woman. "Amazing," Goku answered. "The swords you have here are amazing. Maybe I need one." "That's right," Dana answered. "I've been making them since I was a child." Goku would be surprised. In this way, they both would have tea and spend a passionate night together. The next day, the woman would wake up Goku, who had fallen asleep after the romantic night. Goku would remember that he had to return to his home, so he would quickly get up and leave. Dana would accompany him down the street to the Saiyans. At that moment, Bulma would be near there, seeing the Saiyans with the strange woman. Goku would not notice that Bulma had seen him and would fly away. You could see Bulma returning to her home. I was not sure if that guy was Goku with another woman, but when I saw him flying confirmed that he was Goku. I would think, angry with Bulma. Bulma would arrive at her home. "Where did you get in, woman?" Vegeta asked. "I went shopping," Bulma answered. In this way, Bulma would tell Vegeta that Goku was seeing another woman. "You better not tell anything, because it's going to be a problem for Kakarot, and he's not going to have time to train." "Chi-Chi has to find out this can't stay that way," Bulma answered. "Do whatever you want, woman, but I don't want to have any problems, so don't get me into your gossip," the prince answered. In this way, Bulma would go to Chi-Chi's house to tell her what happened. "What a surprise," Chi-Chi answered. "What brings you here?" "I must talk to you," Bulma answered seriously. Chi-Chi would invite him to have a drink. In this way, Bulma would tell him that she saw Goku with another woman. "I don't know how long they've been, but seeing the passionate kiss they've been calculating for a long time," Bulma would exclaim. Chi-Chi would get angry. After an hour, Goku would arrive. "Bulma, what a surprise!" Goku answered. Bulma and Chi-Chi would be watching Goku angry. "Something happen?" Goku asked. "You know very well what you did," Bulma answered. Which would go home, leaving only Goku and Chi-Chi. Goku would not understand what was happening. Bills Temple. For his part, we can see Whis and Bills talking. "You know, I was thinking about what the oracle fish said," Bills would exclaim. "Maybe I'm talking about the Saiyans." "What do you mean, Mr. Bills?" Whis would ask. "The oracle fish warned all the destructive gods of the emergence of a powerful being, which could mean a threat to the destructive gods. We must train Goku and Vegeta, because if it is about them, we must make them on our side." "I understand, sir. So if Goku and Vegeta become a threat to the destructive gods, it will be better that you are an Elite and ally." "That's right," Bills answered. "We have to be more flexible with the Saiyans." In this way, Bills and Whis would give Goku and Vegeta the opportunity to train for longer. Both would go to planet Earth. For his part, on planet Earth, you could see Vegeta and Bulma arguing.
I told you, woman, not to tell what happened to Kakarot. Now Chi-Chi will go crazier than she is. Bulma answered she feels it, but she had to do it since Chi-Chi is her best friend. Vegeta would be watching angry. Suddenly, a loud noise could be heard, which was Whis and Vilch who had arrived. What are these two doing here? Vegeta would ask. We came to give you good news, Whis answered. You will have the opportunity to continue training in the Temple of Vilch. At first, it would seem strange to him that they had not warned before. Anyway, he would accept since training with the gods and angels makes his power increase considerably. By the way, where is Goku? Vilch would ask. Kakarot will not leave for a long time, Vegeta answered. The gods would ask the reason, to which Vegeta answered that now he has marital problems, and surely his wife will have him watched for a long time. The Saiyans are a very curious race, Vilch answered. Anyway, Whis answered, we must go to start with the new training. In this way, the three would go towards the Temple of Vilch. At Goku's home, you could hear screams. Chi-Chi would be very furious with the Saiyans, so she decides to punish him. Goku would apologize for having been with another woman, so the Saiyans would accept any punishment. Now you are going to go to the time room for a week, Chi-Chi would exclaim seriously. Goku would be surprised. But Chi-Chi, a week in there is 7 years, Goku answered. I do not care. You deserve it, so that you learn to behave like a good husband. The Saiyans would have no choice but to listen to Chi-Chi. So that same day, I would go to the Kami-sama temple to enter the time room. Dende would be surprised to see that Chi-Chi and Goku were in the temple. What is the visit due to? Dende would ask. I will enter the time room for a week, Goku answered. Dende would be surprised, but Mr. Goku will be in there for 7 years. At that moment, Piccolo was watching. That's right, Goku answered. I must do it as a punishment. For his part, Chi-Chi would be watching Goku seriously. Marital problems? Piccolo would ask with a smile. Dende would not understand much, but he would accept that Goku enter. What else? Dende answered. I will not get into your business. In this way, the Saiyans would enter the time room. Do not stay watching, Chi-Chi answered. Do not expect me to stay here. Who will take me to my house? Angry Chi-Chi would ask. In this way, Piccolo would take Chi-Chi flying to his home. Upon arrival, Piccolo answered goodbye to Chi-Chi. I hope they do not threaten the planet during this week. If not, we are dead. Nameku answered and insert mind. Chi-Chi would be watching and would not say anything. Piccolo would fly. For his part in the time room, we can see Goku thinking. 7 years training. Now that I think about it, maybe it will help me to perfect my Ultra Instinct. Although there is still a lot of time ahead, so first, I will eat. In this way, the Saiyans would begin to mentally prepare to face the 7 years in the time room. For his part, in Universe 6, we can see a great battle between Champa and a powerful warrior unknown from Universe 6. He would have asked the destructive god to train. Champa, noticing the great potential of the warrior, would accept. His qualities are indisputable, Vados would exclaim. Do you think he is the subject of the prophecy of the oracle fish? I would not know how to tell you, Mr. Champa, Vados would exclaim. If he continues at this level, we will turn him into my right hand. He may even be on par with the destructive gods. By the way, Mr. Champa, as the young warrior is called, his name is Samuel. He belongs to a race similar to the Saiyans. Samuel would approach and thank the gods again for having the opportunity to train with them. Ashamed that the power tournament has already passed, it would have been the perfect opportunity to show all your potential. I heard about the power tournament, Mr. Champa, but at that time I was in other matters protecting the planet where I lived. Don't worry, Samuel, we will find an opportunity for you to show the level you have. Great, answered the warrior, who would continue to train. Vados would continue surprised to see the movements of the warrior. Champa would begin to notice that he dominated the level of the gods. The next day, Champa would call Samuel. "Come here, boy," the destructive god answered. "Something happened, master?" Samuel would ask. "We will go to a place which I am sure you will have fun." "Great, master. Where will we go?" the warrior would ask excitedly. "We will go to visit an old friend," Champa answered with laughter. In this way, the destructive god and his disciple would depart for the Temple of Vives. Suddenly, in the middle of the trip, they would be intercepted by Grand Priest. "Mr. Zeno wishes the meeting of the destructive gods. Mr. Zeno has not told me the reasons, but as soon as they are free, he needs everyone to be here." "Demons," Champa answered. "What are the reasons?" "Mr. Zeno has not told me the reasons, but as soon as they are free, he needs everyone to be here." Champa would send and say that he will take it into account. In this way, the destructive god would continue his journey to the Temple of Vives. Again in the Lost Universe, you could see the god Sayo. "Mr. Sayo, having been asleep for a long time, you lost the position as god of destruction." Sayo would get angry, since in his time there was only 3 destructive gods, being he the strongest destructive god. "It is understandable, sir. Sleeping for a long time, 500 years, had consequences. There are currently 12 destructive gods." Saya would be surprised. "I see that times have changed." The god would take this as a betrayal, so he would decide to go against all the destructive gods. "Sir, going against all the gods could arouse the anger of the angels and Zeno." "I don't care," Saya would exclaim. "After killing all the destructive gods, I will go for the others." A great power would begin to be felt in various sectors of the universes. The closest universe that was that of Kitela. The rat god would be the first to feel the immense power of the ancient destructive god. It is as well as Sayo moving at great speed through the vast universe would go through Kitela. In the temple of Kaiosama, Kaiosama would be one of the few deities who would realize that the subject of the premonitions was Sayo. "I see that the gods have not yet realized that Baron Kaiosama is talking." Gregory would ask. "Again he is delirium." Kaiosama would get angry. "He no longer treat me like crazy. I am talking about the premonitions of the oracle fish. The destructive gods think that this powerful being is in their universe, but it's a god who lives in another dimension." "I already understood, great Kaiosama. Sorry for my ignorance," Gregory answered. "That subject can destroy all the gods, if he proposes. I tried to communicate with Goku, but I cannot locate him. This is very strange. He seems to be on another timeline. Maybe great Kaiosama entered the room of time. Surely he is training very hard in case a powerful subject appears." "That's right, that must be. I also tried to communicate with the gods and angels, but they are never available." In this way, Kaiosama would be thinking. For his part, Beerus would begin to have strange feelings. In the last days, he would have had lucid dreams with a powerful being. Meanwhile, Vegeta would be training with Whis for several days. What happens to Beerus? Since he arrived, he only trained 1 day. Mr. Beerus is having a series of dreams, which he is trying to decipher what it may be about.
Vegeta would observe seriously. Does it have anything to do with the powerful subject of the prophecy of the oracle fish? That's right, Beerus was sure it was a Saiyan, but apparently he still has the strange dreams. In this way, the days would pass. Beerus would have recovered. Luckily, I stopped having those strange dreams. I'm glad, Mr. Beerus. Vegeta wants to resume training with you. You better get ready, Beerus would exclaim, very confident. Suddenly, he would see that someone falls into the temple. It was Champa with his new warrior. What are you doing here, and who is that subject? Beerus would ask. It is my new discovery, Champa answered. Many say that it is the powerful warrior that the prophecies speak of. Impossible, Beerus answered. Samuel would remain silent, without knowing what to say. Vegeta would notice a huge hidden power in the warrior. "Let's not be rude," Whis answered. "Come in, make yourself comfortable." Both gods would begin to debate about Vegeta and Samuel, and which was stronger. "It is obvious that Vegeta would cut your new warrior to pieces," Beerus answered. "We better stop talking and fight at once," Champa answered. Vegeta and Samuel would watch seriously as both gods continued to argue. "Are you ready to fight?" Beerus would ask Vegeta. "I'm always ready," the prince would exclaim. In this way, the warrior Samuel and the prince would unleash a great battle in the temple of Beerus. On planet Earth, you could see Krillin, who was training hard, when suddenly he realizes that a woman was watching him. "Wow, you are very strong, Krillin," the girl answered. "As soon as I saw you, I fell in love instantly." "It is normal for that to happen," Krillin answered. "I usually generate that effect in women." In this way, the warrior Z would begin to meet the girl by starting a relationship. The girl would tell him that she admires the men who train and have their bodies worked. Krillin would think that this is his opportunity to have an adventure and have other options besides number 18. "Maybe it's crazy. If he finds out 18 would kill me," Krillin answered. "Who is 18? The girl would ask, something confused. "It's no one. Forget it," Krillin answered with laughter. Both would continue to talk, thus forming a loving relationship between the two. For his bad luck, Yamcha was watching them kiss each other. Meanwhile, in the Room of Time, you could see Goku training, when suddenly he suffered a peak of stress and fainted. This was because Goku had spent a long time without training, since there was no threat on Earth. The Saiyans would be lying on the ground for a long 3 years. When he woke up, he would not know how much time had elapsed. Goku would be lost and would decide not to train for a long time. Then the Saiyans would discover a time clock, which indicated the time that had passed. "I was passed out for 3 years," Goku answered, surprised. "Demons, die not of miracle," Goku answered. The Saiyans would also notice that the food was running out in the Room of Time, so he would start looking for food everywhere. Luckily, he would find a lot of hidden food, which he would reach for several more years. Weeks later, the Saiyans would resume training. A surprising power would begin to emanate from the Room of Time. Dende and Mr. Popo would be surprised every night to feel an immense power emanate from the room. In Universe 4, you could see Kitella, who presented a powerful being approaching the planet. It was the Saiyo god. "Mr. Kitella, a subject approaches the planet. We stop him?" "It is not necessary. If they try to stop him, he would kill them. He has a monstrous key," Kitella would exclaim. Kitella's guards would be surprised by the words of the god. In this way, a strong light would fall on the planet of the rat god. "The only way to become the god of destruction again is to defeat all the destructive gods," Saiyo would exclaim. At that moment, Kitella would arrive by means of a teleportation and would be surprised to see that it was the Saiyo god, one of the oldest destructive gods that existed. "With that you reappeared after 500 years, Kitella answered. "I do not know what your intentions are, but I warn you that all the gods are against you." Saiyo would begin to laugh, unleashing the fury of the rat god, which would launch against Saiyo. In this way, a great battle would be unleashed, which Saiyo completely dominated. For his part, in the Temple of Mills, we can see that the battle between Vegeta and the warrior Samuel continued. At first, it would be difficult for the prince, since he was in his base state,
But then when he became the blue god, Vegeta began to dominate the fight by beating the warrior prodigy of Universe 6, leaving Champa surprised. Mills would begin to laugh and make fun of the god Champa. "I told you that Vegeta would humiliate him," said Mills. In this way, the prince would give Samuel a strong blow, leaving the warrior prodigy defeated. Although Samuel's power was incredible, it was not yet at the level of Prince Saiyans. He would kneel before Vegeta, accepting the superiority of the prince. Samuel would ask Vegeta to be his master. Vegeta would be surprised at the request of the warrior, but would accept the proposal of being his mentor, since it would also be good for him to have a powerful subject to train with. "Come to the end, you can make friendship between both universes," exclaimed Vados in laughter. In this way, both would manage to see each other again on planet Earth, becoming Vegeta in this way in the master of the warrior prodigy. Champa would be angry. The prince would offer Samuel a banquet in his name on Earth for being his new mentor. "Great," Samuel answered. Champa would change his mind when he heard that they would have a banquet. "If there is a banquet, then I will also go. After all, I am the god of Universe 6, Champa exclaimed. "Where there is food, there is always this fat man," said Mills. And this way, they would all arrange to meet each other on planet Earth for the big banquet. In the Capsule Corporation, you could see Bulma and Chi-Chi talking. "So they argued with Goku?" Bulma asked. "That's right. He has no choice but to admit everything. He really was with another woman," Chi-Chi answered angry. "That's how men are," Bulma answered. "You don't have to trust, because at any moment they will fool you with another. Lately, I see that Vegeta is also going out there. I haven't followed him yet, but next time I will follow him to see what he's up to. I'm sure he's also going out with another. By the way, they got rid of Goku?" "I punished him," Chi-Chi answered. Bulma would be surprised. "What kind of punishment did you give him?" "I sent him to the time room for a week." Bulma would be surprised. "A week in there is 7 years. "I had to do it, so he can think about what he did." "Thinking about it, I think it's okay." "It's the only way he understands," Chi-Chi answered. Bulma would laugh. "By the way, we'll have a banquet these days. Will you come?" Bulma asked. "A banquet? What will they celebrate?" "Apparently, Vegeta will be the master of a young warrior, and we want to have a party to celebrate." "Fantastic," Chi-Chi answered. "I'll come earlier to help you organize it." "Great," Bulma answered. "Vilk and Champa will also come, who are very powerful subjects." In this way, they would both be talking about the party. For its part, we can see that the fight between Saiyo and Quitella continued. The destructive god would attack with all his strength, but it would not be enough to stop Saiyo. The god Saiyo would kick the rat god, making him fall abruptly. Quitella would get up quickly and would attack Saiyo again at his level. Suddenly, the god would disappear at great speed. Quitella would see him everywhere and could not find him. Saiyo's speed was imperceptible. Suddenly, the god would appear. Quitella would start to give him kicks, but they would do no harm to Saiyo. The god would expel all his ki and attack the rat god, making him fall defeated and unable to move. Quitella would realize that it was the subject of the prophecy of the oracle fish. "I thought that the current gods would be at my level, and I answered Saiyo. I can detect that 2 destructive gods are heading for a planet," I answered Saiyo, which would detect the ki of Vilk and Champa, who were heading to Earth for the big banquet. In this way, Saiyan at great speed would begin to chase Vilk and Champa, which would be the next goal of the god. Again, on Earth, meanwhile in the Room of Time, it would have been 6 years. It would be just 1 more year for Goku to come out. We can see Saiyans almost completely dominating the Ultra Instinct. A monstrous power would begin to emanate in Saiyans. Saiyans would not know, although he began to awaken a malignant transformation of the Ultra Instinct. This transformation that he still did not know how to dominate caused tremors on Earth on several occasions. Goku did not want to use this malignant transformation since it made him go crazy. His personality changed completely. "I finished today's training well," Goku would exclaim as he went to eat. Saiyans would be surprised to notice that the food was being renewed and there was another one every day. This was because Gohan, on the other side, would have asked Shenlong for eternal food in the Room of Time, knowing that Goku would be there for 7 years. "How strange," Goku answered. "At 4 years here, the food should have already been finished," Goku would be thinking. "It doesn't matter. After all, this is another dimension. Very strange things happen in here," Goku would exclaim, who was still eating. For his part, you could see Abolus, who traveled at full speed to Earth, the same on Champa's side. Both deities would have finished training with Vegeta and Samuel, so they would be excited to go to the banquet organized by Bulma. "I'm sure that food will be delicious," Abolus would exclaim. "I do not doubt it, Mr. Abolus. Bulma makes very good sandwiches." Samuel, for his part, would ask Champa what kind of training he will do on Earth. "Forget about training, we will go to eat," Champa answered. "Then there will be time to fight. Anyway, we already agreed that Vegeta will be your new teacher. I hope you do a good job here in Universe 7. In this way, Champa would also go at great speed with Beerus and Samuel towards Earth. Very close from there, you could also see the god Saiyan, who was chasing Abolus and Champa. For moments, Abolus and Champa would notice a strange key, but it would be of no importance because both were thinking about the great banquet of the Earth. In the middle of the journey of the god Saiyan, a strong light would intercept the god. It was Sidra, the destructive god of Universe 9. "So you are the subject of the prophecies," Sidra would exclaim. Saiyan would be surprised. "I do not know any prophecy that speaks of me," the god would exclaim. "So your plan is to destroy all the destructive gods? You made it this far." Saiyan would seriously observe the destructive god. He could notice that Sidra possessed a power superior to the god Quitella. In this way, a great battle would break out in space. The power emanating from both would be felt by Whis, who was beginning to realize that the god Saiyan would have come back to life. In this way, Whis would advise Margarita, and she would communicate it to Vermood. The clown god would be surprised, but knowing that everyone would go to another universe, he would leave it in the hands of the other gods. "I will let them kill themselves," Vermouth would exclaim with a smile. This is how Saiyan would raise his power even more and defeat Sidra. Saiyan's power was out of bounds. Sidra would be rescued in space by the Angel of Universe 9, who would take Sidra back to his universe. Back on Earth, we can see Krillin saying goodbye to his new girl. Warrior Z would still not know that number 18 was watching him. 18 would cast a power making the girl fly through the air. Krillin would be surprised to see number 18. "I didn't think you were capable of fooling me with another." Krillin would confess and ask him how he knew. At that moment, Yamcha would appear, who had told 18 everything about Krillin's secret relationship. Warrior Z would get angry, but it was not the time to reproach. I'll go with a real man, 18 would exclaim. What do you mean? Krillin would ask. In this way, 18 would fly towards the Temple of Kaiosama to enter the Room of Time with Goku. Krillin would follow her, and when he got there, he would beg her not to enter the Room of Time since Goku was there. Dende would not understand anything. Too late, I answered 18, which would enter the Room of Time without thinking about it. Krillin would have no choice but to let 18 enter the Room of Time and trust that Goku doesn't flirt with her. Meanwhile, in the Xeno Temple, you could see Grand Priest and Xeno talking. What the hell is going on, Grand Priest? Several days ago, I asked all the destructive gods to meet here, and not a single one has arrived yet. I know, sir. I told them, but I can't do that. They know they should be here as soon as possible, since it was a request of theirs, sir. Something is happening on Earth, sir. Several deities were heading there. At that moment, the Angel of Universe 9 would appear. The gods are somewhat busy, Mr. Xeno. Apparently, the ancient destructive god Sayo woke up and is angry with all the other destructive gods. He plans to kill everyone. Xeno would be surprised to hear from Sayo, as they did not warn me, I would ask Xeno. Sayo is one of the most powerful and respected beings in all the universes. Now he must be furious knowing that other destructive gods replaced him. I thought the same, sir, Grand Priest would exclaim. In this way, the deities would begin to follow in the footsteps of Sayo. Again on Earth, there could be a great party at Bulma's house, where everyone would be gathered, including the deities. After all, it was not a bad idea to travel this far, Champa answered, who was looking forward to the food. Samuel would be delighted with how they were received. He would thank Vegeta for the great banquet. You could see Krillin, Piccolo, and Yamcha talking. Don't worry, Krillin. Goku will take care of her in the Room of Time, Yamcha answered. You have no choice but to trust Goku and the friendship they have had for many years, Piccolo answered.
I know, Krillin answered. It is that 18 before leaving, he told me that he wanted to be with a real man. He surely said it so that you get jealous, Piccolo answered. That's how women are. Relax. The banquet will come at any time. One day you will have 18 here again. Trust that Goku is your friend since childhood. Krillin would be thinking, you're right. To all this, Milka still did not know that 18 would have entered the Room of Time with Goku. In the Room of Time, you could see 18 entering the Room of Time. Goku would find himself taking a shower. He would be surprised to see number 18. I hope it's not a nuisance, 18 would exclaim. Goku would ask him why he entered the Room of Time. 18 would tell him what happened to Krillin, so he wanted to be with a real man. Goku answered with a laugh that he is not the most suitable since he is in the Room of Time for having deceived Chi-Chi. 18 would be surprised. Well, anyway, I didn't want to be with Krillin. I found out that he was with more than one woman. Goku wouldn't know what to say. In this way, they would both be talking for several hours. Goku would not agree that 18 would stay since he could make Krillin angry. 18 would insist on staying, incidentally taking the opportunity to train. Goku would be thinking, well, now that I think about it, maybe I would be good with someone to train with. I still have a year here. It will also serve me to talk to someone since I have not had a conversation for 6 years. In this way, Goku would feel. So 18 would stay the last year in there, which Goku had to fulfill. They would both sleep together since there would be only one bed, but without overdoing it since Goku wanted to respect friendship with Krillin. The Saiyans would end up sleeping on the floor. On the other hand, the big feast
continued. The party would be a success since it would have come out as Bulma had planned. Vegeta and his disciple Samuel would be training. A great battle would break out. The prince would be indicating new techniques to the young warrior. For his part, we can see Champa, who would have finished his meal, when he suddenly sees that there was still a lot left on Beerus's plate. At that moment, the destructive god was watching the fight between Vegeta and Samuel. Champa would take advantage and eat what was left of Beerus's food. Whis would warn Beerus that Champa was eating the last ration of food on his plate. Beerus would get angry and start expelling Suki. "Don't get angry," Champa answered. "I thought you wouldn't eat anymore." "You're going to pay me, damn fat man. That was the best bite I had saved for the end," Beerus answered, very furious. In this way, the destructive god with Suki would blow up all the tables and decorations of the party. Everyone would run out scared. Vegeta and Samuel would be watching. They would not understand what was happening. It is as well as a great battle would break out between Beerus and Champa. For his part, you could see a great shining light reaching planet Earth. It was the god Saiyans. The god would notice some very strange key. "I'm sure Beerus and Champa are here. The other key, I do not know." Saiyans would begin to notice everyone's key, curiously giving him the key of the Saiyans. For his part, the great battle between Beerus and Champa continued. Suddenly, Vegeta would notice a monstrous key approaching, which belonged to Saiyans. "Is something happening, Master?" Samuel would ask. Vegeta would be speechless. He could not believe the key he was feeling. Champa and Beerus would not notice, since they would be concentrated fighting. For his part, in the Room of Time, it would be very short for Goku to leave, having already turned 7 years old in there. "Well, the time has finally come to get out of here," the Saiyans would exclaim. Goku would be grateful with number 18 for having been a training partner. "It was fun," I answered 18, which would have already passed the anger with Krillin. For his part, the battle between Beerus and Champa continued. Practically, there would be no difference, being a very even fight. Suddenly, you can see that Saiyans was watching the battle. The Z warriors would be paralyzed to feel the presence of the god. Saiyans would begin to notice everyone's key, curiously giving him the key of the Saiyans. For his part, the great battle between Beerus and Champa continued. Suddenly, you can see that Saiyans was watching the battle. The Z warriors would be paralyzed to feel the presence of the god. Saiyans would cast a power that would make Beerus and Champa fly, causing both to fall. Beerus and Champa would be surprised to see that it was the ancient god of destruction. "It will be better that you take all your power," Champa answered. "This is the subject of the prophecy of the oracle fish." "That's right," Champa answered. In this way, both gods would attack Saiyans, unleashing a great battle. For his part, in the temple of Zeno, Ayase apparently he is looking for revenge against the destructive gods. "It will be better that you send the other destructive gods so that they can intervene." Zeno would deny, since he wanted to see what was happening. "These fights are not seen very often," I answered Zeno, celebrating. "As you say, sir," Grand Priest exclaimed. "By the way, where is Goku?" Zeno would ask. "I do not know, sir. Goku seems to be in another dimension. Son Goku is in the Room of Time. I do not know the reasons, but he was locked there for a long 7 years. How strange, would Zeno say. But don't worry, apparently he is about to leave that room, sir." Thus, the deities would be watching the battle on Earth. Again, on Earth, we can see that Saiyans dominated the battle. Mills and Champa would try to hit the god, but he would stop all attacks. In a fast movement, Saiyan would dodge Champa and would throw him a power causing him to fall defeated. Mills would be surprised to see the enormous power of the god. The Z warriors would have no choice but to have to face Saiyan, since the Earth was in danger due to the amount of energy that the god expelled. Suddenly, the warrior Samuel, seeing Champa defeated, would get furious, expelling all his ki and attacking the god. Saiyan would dodge him easily and would hit him in the stomach, causing him to fall defeated instantly. Samuel would be on the verge of death. Mills would watch Vegeta, expecting the Saiyan to do something. Vegeta would begin to load his ki, leaving Saiyan surprised. A huge power would begin to emanate from the prince. Saiyan would throw a power at Vegeta, but the prince with his aura would destroy the energy ball. It can't believe, who the hell is that guy? Saiyan would wonder. In this way, the prince would launch against the god, unleashing a great battle. Mills would be watching the fight. Champa would go with Samuel. "Don't think this is going to stay that way," Champa would exclaim angry. "I will destroy that guy with my own hands." In this way, Champa would teleport with Samuel to Universe 6. For his part, the Z warriors, while Vegeta fought with Saiyan, these would attack the god, but Saiyan would defeat them easily, causing everyone to fall defeated. Continuing thus the fight with Vegeta. "In the Temple of Zeno." "Well," I answered Zeno, "that Vegeta is fighting at the same time with the ancient destructive god." "I see, sir," I answered, "the Angel of Universe 9. His power is exceeding all limits." Grand Priest answered, "Vegeta's power is huge, but Saiyan has not yet shown his maximum power." Zeno would be surprised. Again, on Earth, little by little, Saiyan would begin to raise his power even more. Vegeta would begin to receive a burst of blows. Saiyan's fists were so strong that the prince would spit a lot of blood in each blow of the god. Saiyan would throw a kick, making Vegeta fall unconscious. The god would charge a power to kill the Saiyans. Suddenly, a surprise power would impact Saiyan, making the god fly through the air and fall abruptly. It was Goku, who would have already left the room of time. The Saiyans would give him a bag with seeds of the hermit to 18. Number 18 would begin to distribute seeds of the hermit to all Z warriors. Saiyan would observe Goku seriously. He would not know who he was either. Goku, being locked up all week, would not understand what had happened. The Saiyans, seeing the whole disaster, would transform into an Ultra Instinct mode. Saiyan would attack Goku, but he would dodge it. The god would be surprised by Goku's enormous speed. He would launch himself again against Goku. A great battle would break out. For his part, Zeno would celebrate seeing that Goku had left the room of time. "I'm sure Goku will make more fights than Vegeta," Zeno would exclaim happily. "Sir, by the way, what will happen to Saiyan?" Grand Priest would ask. Zeno would be thinking. If he wins the fight, he will become the new destructive god, replacing everyone. But if he loses, he will be locked up for another 500 years in the prison of the gods for all the disturbance generated. "Interesting, sir," Grand Priest answered. The deities would continue to observe the planet Earth. The battle continued. Saiyan, seeing that Goku was at the same level, would stop the fight and begin to charge a power to destroy the planet. Goku would notice, and at great speed, he would hit the god in the stomach, making the god spit blood from the strong blow. Furious, Saiyan would launch himself again against Goku and kick Saiyans, making him fall abruptly. Saiyan would charge a giant energy ball again. But suddenly, Goku would get up again, and an immense power would begin to awaken from Saiyans. Goku would choose to make his evil transformation, which he still did not master. The sky would become totally dark, and Saiyo's energy ball would vanish. Saiyo would be surprised. He could not believe Goku's immense power. At great speed, Goku would disappear. Saiyo would begin to look for Goku, could not see his movements. The speed of Saiyans was out of limits. Suddenly, Goku would appear in front of Saiyo. Saiyo would throw a dark energy at the god, going through his body. Saiyo would fall unconscious. The god would be on the verge of death. Like Goku, who would return to his base state. In this way, Saiyo would defeat the god. The Zeta warriors recovered with the seeds of the hermit would celebrate. Vegeta would be angry to see Goku's new evil technique. "What kind of training did you do in there?" the prince would ask. Goku would laugh. Later, Grand Priest would arrive to Earth. Beerus would be surprised to see the presence of the Great Priest. Grand Priest answered nothing and would take Saiyo's body, which would be sent to the prison of the gods. Goku would greet Grand Priest. A month later, in Krillin's home, "I'm pregnant," I would exclaim 18. Krillin would be thinking and would not give him the account since 18 was a year in the room of time. I would begin to suspect that Goku had something with 18. "It was a joke," I would answer 18 with laughter. Krillin would laugh. Well, this has been the movie. If you liked it, subscribe and activate the bell to see the next movies of the channel. A greeting. Here are the latest and best news items for the Dragon Ball franchise this week, delivered in a narratable style. This week has brought noteworthy updates for the Dragon Ball universe, giving fans tangible reasons to feel the franchise is moving forward. While no major new anime season or full-on manga arc has been unleashed just yet, what we do have is momentum through game announcements, anniversary initiatives, and long-term strategic positioning. The tone of this update? The brand is quietly gearing up for a big chapter, and the signs are finally aligning in clear ways. Let's begin with one of the biggest items, the confirmation of a new video game project slated for early 2026. The company behind Dragon Ball games, Bandai Namco, has officially flagged that the announcement of a brand new Dragon Ball video game will occur on January 25th, 2026, during the big anniversary event. This particular piece of news has substantial weight because it's not just a rumor, this is a scheduled reveal. For fans who have been waiting for the next big title beyond the currently active games, this is a clear marker that something major is in development. What it might be is still unclear. Speculation includes a sequel to a previous major game, an open-world RPG style, or even entirely new mechanics or story approach. But the window of January 2026 solidifies that this isn't idle talk. It means the franchise is lining up its next headline item. What makes that even more meaningful is the context of the franchise's broader 40th anniversary campaign. Dragon Ball is celebrating 4 decades of cultural impact, and this week we're seeing that milestone actively guiding the brand's strategy. Announcements of special merchandise, event tie-ins, and global fan activations are abundant, and the new game reveal fits directly into that narrative. The anniversary period isn't just window dressing, it's being used as a launch pad for the next major phase. From collector editions to fan events scheduled around the world, Dragon Ball is reminding its audience that while the story content might be in rebuild mode, the brand itself is very much alive and hits the ground running. On the game front more broadly, there is also excellent news for fans of the current titles. One of the existing fighting game entries in the franchise has reached a roster milestone beyond expectations. Developers confirmed that the roster now exceeds the 200 character mark, making it one of the most expansive lineups in a fighting game within the Dragon Ball series. Along with that, they announced that additional downloadable content, DLC, is planned, with further details expected in the January 2026 timeframe, aligning with the big anniversary event and game reveal schedule. For fans who thought the latest fighting game support had slowed, this is a clear signal. Development remains active, and content release is still on the roadmap. Also notable this week, the retail and collectible side of the franchise continues to generate strong activity. The official Dragon Ball site published multiple updates this week around new figure lines, special capsule toys, and exclusive merchandise drops tied to the 40th anniversary theme. For collectors and fans more interested in tangible items than screens, this is encouraging. The brand is keeping fans engaged with physical goods, limited edition runs, and event-exclusive items. These are not minor accessory updates. Some of the products being previewed suggest major collector appeal, and the timing is strategic, with year-end holiday seasons approaching and the anniversary event early next year to build into. From a fan community perspective, this week's news also highlighted the strategic repositioning of the franchise narrative. Several interviews, panels, and commentary pieces, though not brand new this week, continue to emphasize the idea that the franchise is entering a preparation phase for major story content rather than trying to fill time with small, disconnected releases. That means fans should interpret the current period not as emptiness, but as a strategic pause before a next wave. The narrative being communicated, the next major Dragon Ball chapter is not soon in the trivial sense, but scheduled, planned, and aligned with the anniversary theme. For those who follow the story side, anime, manga, new arcs, this messaging offers reassurance that the franchise is not gone dormant, but building towards something purposeful. Another subtle but meaningful piece of news this week is the official Dragon Ball channels have announced new fan engagement functions, such as weekly quizzes about Dragon Ball history and limited edition merchandise giveaways. While these might sound like small things, they serve two important roles. First, they keep the community active and engaged during a less heavy production period. Second, they subtly reinforce that the franchise cares about its fandom, knows that it's in a quieter story moment, and is compensating by inviting participation and interaction. For narrators, this is a key signal. While we wait, we play together, share together, and celebrate the legacy together. The combination of these items, the scheduled major game reveal, the milestone roster in the fighting game, and continued support for current games, the big push on anniversary merchandise and fan experiences, and the communication of creative repositioning all converge to give this week's Dragon Ball news a cohesive theme. It's not loud and flashy in the sense of a new anime drop or manga arc, but it's loud in the sense of strategic significance. The brand is using this quieter period to set up its next big wave, and that wave has a date, a celebration, and the signs of investment behind it. For fans tuning in now, here are some practical takeaways. If you're into the games, this is a very good moment. With a major reveal on the horizon and active support still coming for recent titles, your investment in playing and following Dragon Ball games is justified and promising. If you're into merchandising and collectibles, now is also a strong time. With limited runs and special anniversary items being released, keeping tabs on official channels, store drop announcements, and retail exclusives is wise. These items may become more desirable through scarcity and significance. If you're primarily interested in the story side, anime or manga, patience remains necessary, but with positive indicators. The messaging is, content is coming, and it will likely be aligned with the big date in January 2026. Use this time to revisit old arcs, engage with fan discussions, and appreciate the franchise legacy. The next chapter will come with full presence when it arrives. On fan engagement, make use of the quizzes, giveaways, and social events the franchise is hosting, because these are part of the narrative of we're celebrating now, even as we build toward later. It's a good way to feel connected rather than waiting passively. In summary, this week's Dragon Ball news sets a tone of momentum, alignment, and anticipation. The major game reveal date of January 25, 2026 acts as the anchor point. The strong support for existing games and merchandise shows the brand is active, and the overarching 40th anniversary framing gives strategic context. While fans may still be waiting for the next full-scale story arc in anime or manga form, what they're getting now is the build-up and preparation for meaningful releases. This is not a pause out of urgency, but a pause by design, and that makes all the difference.